Greetings all, Raphael X here with another video coming at you this November 16th. Please subscribe, click on the notification button, all that good stuff. Sorry, I left the light on up top. It's a little bit bright. Looks like some light from heaven shining down upon me, but hopefully it's not too bothersome. But yeah, so again, subscribe, click on the notification button, like, share this video. I want to talk about a little bit about the modern heresies and what are they based upon, because it is obvious that the schism in the church has started in the 60s. A lot of people blame it on Vatican II with justification, because Vatican II was an extremely optimistic council, as the Pope who convoked it, John the 23rd, who was extremely optimistic to the point of being naive. He was a good Pope. I do believe he was a holy man, no doubt. But that spirit is important, that kind of we don't make a anachronism judging that time with our recent categories, the categories we have now within our time period. So Vatican II was post-war. It was very much trying to form a dialogue. I'm going to do another video on dialogue, what it means, the actual word dialogos, to essentially, there's a logos involved with two, and logos point to the truth and order. But so there was a focus on dialogue, not fighting and not condemning. And this is understandable because of the post-war era. And today we're seeing that run amok, even though it has some justification in the past, today is totally run amok. And what is it? Why is that happening? What are the modern heresies, which is based on modernism, the sum of all heresies? Why is what is the basis of the heresies today, essentially? Why are they increasing in an exponential, in a quantitative and qualitative manner? I just remembered we forgot to pray. So let's say glory be to the Father. And this is really bad because sometimes I just jump right into it, and we have to pray. Theology, as I teach in my theology classes, is nothing without praying. And ecclesiology too, church history, even philosophy, nothing. We should do nothing without praying. So, in nomine Patris et Filii Spiritus Sancti, Amen. Gloria Patri et Filio Spiritui Sancto, sic ut erat in principio et nunc et semper, et in saecula saeculorum. Amen. Ave Maria, sede sapientiae, ora pro nobis. In nomine Patris et Filii Spiritus Sancti, Amen. All right, so I'm not going to share any screen today, but I just want to say that the heresies of today because of the 60s, we are seeing a schism. The 60s is a schism within the church, without a doubt, right before Vatican II, not just after Vatican II. After Vatican II is more manifested with a lot of people, a lot of the religious, even religious leaving their orders, and a lot of Catholics becoming dissidents. So we see that. Now, what happens in the 60s, the sexual revolution. So there is an intimate tie between sexuality, moral sexuality, or immorality, I should say, in the sexual realm, and doctrinal rectitude, also known as orthodoxy. You cannot be doctrinally sound if you are not morally sound. If you are not morally sound, if you commit sins, especially in a habitual manner, they will cloud your intellect immediately or ultimately, but sooner or later, your intellect will be clouded. And one of the sins that does this the most in a tremendous way are sexual sins, and the most perverted of them, homosexual sins. And that's what we're seeing today. So the proliferation of heresy is due to the proliferation of sexual immorality, abortion's tide, abortion's culmination, the use of contraception, fornication, and just in everything, in the immodesty and in everything else. So what's going on here? So the church, and it's happening everywhere, but in the church, in the right, in the leadership and in the laity too, all over, as the church goes, so does the world. There is a softening in in sexual morality. And what is that? And again, so there's an intimate nature, there's an intimate relation between doctrine and practice, right? Doctrine and practice. You cannot practice what you don't believe, and you cannot believe what you don't practice. You can't have this schizophrenia. They have to conform ultimately. You can't be a hypocrite for a long time. So why 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 are we having this issue today, in an extreme way? So doctrine and practice go hand in hand. So as we're saying, as I was saying before, the sexual revolution is tied to heresy, to heresy. So as we become more and more sexually immoral, the right, the hierarchy of the church, um, many in the church and in the world itself, doctrine itself, right, church doctrine also becomes watered down to the point of not being sound, and vice versa. So that lack of soundness, right, that heterodoxy, we can say, also influences the practical life. So for example, if you're hearing, um, and this is good, this is having a good spirit, this is a grace from God. If you're hearing, um, priests or any in the hierarchy defending an immoral position, it is usually because they practice it, right? Usually because they practice. I remember when I was in, I'm not gonna say which school, in a university, and I had a teacher who was staunchly pro-choice. I'm sorry, not pro-contraception, very much for it, in a very illogical way, pure passion. And I mean, I was just kind of fed up with his arguments or lack of arguments that were purely based on emotion. And he told me, I told him actually, I told him, I said, you believe it because you use it, right? He got really mad. He didn't deny it, but he got really mad. So vice versa, right? So just as doctrine just as the practice influences the doctrine also is manifested through the practice, right? If you don't act according to what you believe, you will believe ultimately according to how you act, right? So this is scary in a way. We have to be consequent with our actions, and that is a sincere person in the end. So let us pray. Let us pray to always be morally sound and intellectually sound, and know that these two go hand in hand. Right? If we're not intellectually sound, if we do not believe in the orthodox teaching of the Catholic Church, especially in sexual morality, we have to reassess our lives. Right? What are we doing? Right? Why are we falling off? It's scary. It's really scary how morally we can form ourselves, that we can form our intellects by what we do. All right, I just wanted to say that, and keep fighting the good fight, and fighting the devil. Our first enemy is ourselves, of course. Criteria of the world, the devil, and let's just keep at it. All right, God bless you all, and take care.